Welcome everybody to Below the Deck with Team Ease. So I get the distinct privilege and pleasure of interviewing our leader of the week today, who happens to be one of my favorite leaders, and she's going to be telling us a little bit about herself. And so we're going to interview none other than the famous Miss Tia Howley, and in Spanish we call that aunt, but in English we call her aunt too. So that's Aunt T. So thank you very, very much for being one of our interviewed guests for Below the Deck. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and just so we get to learn a little bit about the leadership that we have with Team Eclipse. So let's start off real quick with yourself. Say, back in high school, Miss Tia Howley, who was Tia Howley back in high school? Were you a rocker? Were you a person that got nothing but good grades? Were you an athlete? What was your background in high school?
Okay, so we're dating way back, like we're talking 1980s, right? So imagine 1980s in Northeast Ohio, right? Rubber City, capital of the world, in Akron, Ohio. And it was all Farrah Fawcett hair. It was all pink and green. It was all topsiders, every color. You know, we all were in big cliques. We were all friends from the time we were kindergarten all the way through high school. You know, they put together like 4 schools. So they put together 4 schools and we grew up together, you know, some ins and outs, whether it was cheerleading and gymnastics and student council and all of those things I was involved in. Sports, always around baseball and football and soccer. So always around that in one capacity or the other. And that was it, you know, that was it, my life until I was probably a junior. And then kind of at a junior, I said, you know, okay, I got to do something seriously, because folks said, sorry, kiddo, if you want to go to college, you got to pay for it. So I'm like, oh, great. Okay. So switch gears, and I started working full time when I was a junior in high school. So my senior year, I basically worked. You know, I went in from 7 to 11 in the mornings, and off to work I went till 9 o'clock that night. So I think that's where my career started. It was in high school. I mean, my working career, you know, I had to work. So I went to work.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, great response. Thank you so much. And if you could get in an 88 DeLorean and go 88 miles an hour and go back to give some advice to the Tia Howley back when you were in the high school times, what would you advise yourself? What would be some advice that you'd give yourself if you thought about it?
That's a great question. Going back, I've thought about this, because, you know, what would I tell myself? First and foremost, I would tell myself to be true to myself. Be true, speak your own truth, find your why, know what it is you want out of life. And I would have told myself, stick to it, you know, keep your self-esteem up and self-educate yourself to what you got to do and when you want to do it, you know, and have a goal, have a plan.
Awesome. Well, great words of wisdom. So since you've joined this team, you joined Team E and you joined Legal Shield, what are some of the, let's say, some of the biggest challenges that you've had? And then how did you handle it? So what were some of those challenges coming on board with the pandemic and all that? What was some of the challenges that you run across? Maybe you could kind of elaborate a little bit on that.
There was a couple, you know, because of my work ethic and how I used to roll in business in regards to being in the beverage business or being in any kind of sales position that I was in, whether across the country, no matter what I was. I thought I could start the company or start this business by myself with that dedication and that drive and that really big ambition. And I did, you know, I hit the ground running and I was really thrilled and I went really fast. And I was like, okay, cool. This is the way that it's going to be. This is how I'm going to, okay, cool. I'm really liking this. The financial rewards are huge. You know, I was surprised. I was elated. And then I realized, you know, it's got to slow down a little bit. You know, so I realized that I wasn't being coachable. You know, I just thought I could do it all by myself, you know, not using anyone's words of wisdom, not using anyone's support or anything like that. I knew what I was doing. Well, guess what? I didn't. So I would say getting over yourself and being able to be coachable, and then take the time to educate yourself, train yourself, use the materials, use everything that they have involved with the trainings and stuff, and take a lot of notes, you know, so that's my biggest thing there.
Awesome, and thank you so much for that. And that kind of leads me to the question, and you somewhat answered it, but you're growing a very, very large team, and you're growing all over the United States and possibly coming up in Canada, who knows? But what would be some we got a lot of new people that are going to be watching this video. What would be some advice you'd give to a new person? And I think you kind of said it a little bit in what you just kind of came across, but what would be your advice to the new Team Eclipse person that comes on board and is just now joining? What would you tell them as far as how to be successful in this team?
Plug into the training. Plug into the training, ask a lot of questions. Go ahead and take the time to read the articles, read the plans, read everything that is involved. So when someone asks you that one question that you just don't know and you don't trip over your tongue, you know what you're talking about. Believe in it. Believe in it, because once that light bulb comes on and you flip the switch, you're ready to run. You're ready to run, and use your support from the teams that you have. Stay engaged with them. Listen to them. Be coachable, because the sky's the limit. The longer you're in it to win it, the more you're going to achieve. So keep that positive energy. Keep the self-motivation going. Be disciplined. Be dedicated. Just let it go for a ride. So yeah, it's great.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much. And with that guys, there you have it. So some great words of wisdom. I got to catch her on her rocket ship up to the director level, and then senior, and then of course flying right by it all the way to executive director on to platinum. But just want to say thank you, Miss Tia. That will conclude our interview. You did amazing, and we're looking forward to everybody's success. Thank you guys for joining us this week for our leader of the week, Miss Tia Howley. So everybody, have yourself a successful Friday.
Have a great Friday.